All right, so first off, I want to say all praise to Yahawah, in the name of his son, YAHAWASHI, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, but also known as the Prophets of Doom, excuse me. All right, these are where I have learned this truth and where I'm still learning this truth. And also, I want to say shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel, Lord willing, I'm of that number. All right, so that last video, my phone ran out of time. All right, that 15 minutes or so went quick. But while I was waiting for those videos to upload, it did give me a chance to go run and get this apocrypha. So Lord willing, I'll premiere this video right after the short 15-minute video. Okay, so what we were in the midst of doing is looking up 2nd Ezra chapter 5, all right, verse 42, which speaks about the Lord's judgment being likened to a ring. All right, meaning what goes around comes around. All right, at the time that the Lord deems it time to happen. Okay, so 2nd Ezra 5 and 42. Let me read 41. All right, it says, "And I said, Behold, O Lord, yet art thou nigh unto them that be reserved till the end? And what shall they do that have been before me, or what that be now, or excuse me, or we that be now, or they that shall come after us? And he said unto me, I will liken my judgment unto a ring," R-I-N-G, okay? "Like as there is no slackness of the last, even so there is no swiftness of the first." So the Lord's judgments come in due time. I did look this up in Google just to see if it would give any more that we can get out of this, just so you can understand more, okay? It says the key scripture likening God's judgment to a ring, or Yahawah Bahashim Yahushai's, or better yet, Yahawah Bahashim Yahushai's judgment to a ring, symbolizing its completeness and perfect timing, okay, which is in that verse we just read, okay? It goes on to say here, this passage from the book of 2nd Ezra is often considered apocryphal or deuterocanonical. Deuterocanonical explains that just as a ring has no beginning or end, Yahawah Bahashim Yahushai's judgment will unfold perfectly, with no one being too early or too late for their appointed time. Key points to this verse, it says, Yahawah Bahashim Yahushai's judgment isn't rushed, no swiftness for the first, nor does it lag, where it mentioned no slackness for the last. It says he uses the analogy of a womb and childbirth, which happens sequentially, to show that creation unfolds in stages, not all at once. It says the passage emphasizes that creation cannot hurry the Creator, just as the earth brings forth seeds in their own time. It says while other scriptures use rings to denote authority or misplaced beauty, 2nd Ezra 5 and 42 directly uses the ring's unending shape to illustrate the perfect, unending nature and timing of Yahawah Bahashim Yahushai's judgment. Now, let's go back here and read this quote again from Thomas Jefferson. It says, I tremble for my country when I reflect that Yahawah, and he's not, of course, he's not putting Yahawah Bahashim Yahushai, but, well, I'll read the quote since it is a direct quote. I'll just read it verbatim. I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just, that his justice cannot sleep forever, that considering numbers, nature, and natural means only, A revolution of the wheel of fortune, which is why we read that passage there in Second Esdras. A revolution of the wheel of fortune, an exchange of situation, is among possible events that it may become probable. Man, why can't I say this right now? Probable by supernatural interference. The Almighty has no attribute which can take side with us in such a contest. All right, so instead of him passing his suitcase on, or instead of him digging through it, picking out what's good and bad, he knows. All right, it seems as though through this comment, through the spirit that had him make this comment, that he knows that he must accept it all. All right, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, on the other hand, this Yuval Noah Harari, he doesn't like the fact that he has to deal with what his ancestors has done. All right, let alone the fact that he is his ancestor. All right, he won't understand the spiritual if he doesn't understand the worldly things. Okay, so let's go on to Esau's judgment. This is what he's trying to put off. Okay, Ezekiel 35 and 1. All right, the heading reads, "Prophesy against Mount Seir." Now, we already touched on. Well, let's do it again since this is a new video. Before we do this, since I don't know how far we'll make it, let's get this copyright disclaimer. It says copyright disclaimer under section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All rights and credit go directly to its rightful owners. No copyright infringement is intended. So, why are we reading about prophesying against Mount Seir? What does this have to do with now? Okay. Under the entry for Edom or Edomites in the Zondervan's Compact Bible Dictionary, it reads Edom or Edomites, the nation and its people who were the descendants of Esau. He founded the country, so his name is equated with Edom. The country was also called Seir, or Mount Seir, which was the name of the territory in which the Edomites lived. The bottom of this entry for East Edom, it says Edom figures prominently in the prophetic scriptures as the scene of great future judgments. She is the only neighbor of the Israelites who was not given any promise of mercy from YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI. All right. And that goes right along with, before we get to Ezekiel 35 and 1, that goes right along with Malachi 1 and 4. And I may have to close out some windows here just to okay. So now let's go to Malachi 1 and 4, all right, which is a verse that goes along with what we just read there at the end of the entry for Esau, Edom. All right, no promise of mercy. All right, so this is a let me start at 1. All right, the heading of this chapter, all right, Malachi chapter 1 reads, YAHAWAH and YAHAWASHI's love for Jacob, all right, which is Esau's twin brother. All right, subsequently, he's the progenitor of the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, so it says, the burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. It says, I have loved you, saith the Lord Yahweh. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? So the Lord has shown throughout all time, all right? He didn't destroy us off this earth, all right? He didn't destroy us to kill us off. He destroyed us to teach us a lesson, all right? To teach us, now I told you to go this way, but you disobeyed, all right? And in disobeying, this is your punishment. But still, I love you, Okay, this is what is being said here. All right, and yet Israelites who don't see this, all right, who don't hear this truth, all right, the ones that are blinded, they ask questions, all right, and this is an example of just them, all right, asking this question, all right, or yeah, just an example for us to know that, you know, they ask the question, but then he goes on to explain, all right, how it is shown to us that he loves us. But you have to take that into account. The Lord could destroy us, man, completely, and still we are here for what? All right, because this is the way that the Lord intended for us to inherit his kingdom. Okay, we had to fall, right? We had to fall. We had to be subjected to vanity and sin in order to later be subjected to faith and hope. All right. So again, Malachi 1 and 2, I have loved you, saith the Lord Yahawah. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Saith the Lord Yahawah, yet I love Jacob. And you might not voice that out loud, but the way you act, all right, as a 2/3 Israelite shows that you don't know that the Lord loves you, and also shows that you don't love the Lord, all right? Not in the state that you are in now, okay? Malachi 1 and 3 says, and I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Now, I do want to go in here and look at this word for heritage, all right? Here's the word.
Strong's H 5159. Nachala. Nachala.
All right. He laid his possession, his property, his inheritance waste. Okay. When you get an inheritance from somebody, you get basically a suitcase from them. Okay. Your inheritance is laid waste. This is a road that you are on. This is what is in that suitcase. Okay. This is what this man that we watched the video of in part 1. All right. This is what he wants to avoid: his inheritance, his portion. Okay. His share of the penalty for being in the position that he's in. All right, he wants to offload that baggage. All right, Strong's definition, it says properly something inherited. All right, concretely an heirloom, generally an estate, patrimony or portion, a heritage. It says to inherit, inheritance. All right, everything that is in that suitcase is your inheritance. Okay. All right, if you don't like the Lord suitcasing on you, take it up with him when he comes. All right, because he is going to be here soon, man. Okay, so there's nothing you can do to get out of this. So let's go back here to Malachi 1 and now verse 4. It says, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord Yahawah of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever, which points to why these people do not receive any promise of mercy. Okay? The only neighbor of the Israelites not to receive any promise of mercy. All right, they are the wicked, as this verse pointed out. Okay? So we know that the wicked are in power, but as this world is getting flipped, as their judgment is being shown to them, all right, as their judgment is slowly starting to open up and take form, they want to get rid of the baggage. They want you to stop suitcasing on them. They don't want to remember. They don't want to be reminded of, not that they're not proud of the things that they did, but they don't want to be reminded of the penalty. Okay? They don't want to be reminded of the things that are coming for them. All right? This is what the problem is with these people. But it doesn't matter. All right? It doesn't matter if they tell someone to stop suitcasing on them and they do. you still have to deal with the Lord, all right? Okay? Doesn't matter if you talk someone else into having sympathy for you. Does not matter. The Lord has something in store for you, man, that you are not going to be able to remedy. All right? So back here in Ezekiel 31:5, let me see if I'm going to close out any more windows. Hold on. I'll keep that up. Ecclesiastes 1:9. All right. Malachi 1:4. All right, we can close that out. All right, so Ezekiel 35:1. Prophecy against Mount Seir. Okay. It says, moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus saith the Lord power, or Yahawah power. Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out mine hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. Okay, so we acknowledged in previous videos, we acknowledged our past. Okay, we acknowledged our past, and we showed you where we are headed. Okay, now we're talking about you. Okay, and this has always been the plan. Okay, the word of YAHAWAH and YAHAWASHI. All right. So Ezekiel 35:4 says, I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am Yahawah. All right. Now, why are these things being done to you? Listen to this. Ezekiel 35:5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord power Yahawah, all right, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Seeth thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Okay? Goes on to say, Thus I will make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. And I will fill his mountains with his slain men, in thy hills, and in thy valleys, and in all thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword. I will make thee perpetual desolations, and thy cities shall not return, and ye shall know that I am the Lord Yahawah. All right? So this is a part of your judgment, man. This is a part of that suitcase that you open up, and understandably so, this is a part of that, the contents of that suitcase that you don't want to hold on to. But again, reciprocal justice, right? You have things coming to you just as we had things coming to us, all right? Penalties. Yours is more than you can bear, okay? So now you want to go around the world throwing some pity parties, all right? It's not going to work with the Lord, man. Okay? Now, let me read this really quickly here. All right? There's still more. All right? Ezekiel 35:10, because thou hast said, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas the Lord was there. All right? Northern kingdom of Israel. Okay? Ezekiel 35:11, it says, therefore as I live, saith the Lord power, I will even do according to thine anger, and according to thine envy, which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them. And I will make myself known among them when I have judged thee. All right? A lot of Israelites are going to understand that this is all Yahawah when he sees what happens to you. A lot of people, all right, Israelite, non-Israelite alike, they think that you are, they treat you as though you are Yahawah, Baal Shem Yahushai, or God. I'll say that. They treat you as like you are God. All right, because we have been brought so low. Okay, but when people see what happened to you, all right, they're automatically going to know that this right here, this power that's doing this to them, this is YAHAWAH and YAHAWASHI. And also, when he sees, when the people see what YAHAWAH and YAHAWASHI has done with us. Okay, so let me see. Now here's something else. All right, Ezekiel 35:12. And thou shalt know that I am the Lord, and that I have heard all thy blasphemies, which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying, they are laid desolate, they are given us to costume. Now, this is speaking of you Edomites as a nation. All right, as a nation, this is what you have inherited. And we're going to get directly to Yuval Noah Harari in a minute. All right, but as the nation, all right, you are inheriting this. Again, this is a part of that suitcase. Okay, Ezekiel 35:13. Thus with your mouth have ye boasted against me, and have multiplied your words against me. I have heard them. All right, y'all think y'all slick and talking against the Lord and his people. All right, but the Lord hears everything. All right, okay. Thus saith the Lord power, when the whole earth rejoiceth, I will make thee desolate. As thou didst rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel, because it was desolate, so will I do unto thee. Thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Idumea. Idumea, all right, the Greek way of saying Edom, all right, even all of it, and they shall know that I am the Lord power. Okay, I want to look at this Ezekiel 35:12. Really Ezekiel 35:12 and 13 in the NLT really quickly here. Okay, it says, then you will know that I, the Lord, have heard every contemptuous word you spoke against the mountains of Israel. For you said, they are desolate. They have been given to us as food to eat. And boy, did y'all devour us, right? It says in a literally and spiritually, all right? Literally and spiritually, okay? In saying that, you boasted proudly against me, and I have heard it all. All right, this is what you got coming, man. You done spoke against the power. All right, you done put yourself in position like you are the power also. Let's go here to Isaiah 14 and get a little bit more of a judgment. Okay, Israel's taunt. Okay, Israel's taunt, or our song against you. Okay, Isaiah 14:1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob. This is the things that we can boast about, although we can't boast. But in the Spirit, through the Spirit, we can boast knowing that we are the Lord's people. Okay. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, the Israelites who didn't know who we are. Like, I'm even a stranger over here. Okay. I didn't know who I was. Right. And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. All right. Jacob being the head tribe. That's why we're all going to cleave to the house of Jacob. Isaiah 14:2, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. All right, some more things that are in your suitcase. Okay, if you want me to read it a little bit more clear, I don't know if the NLT is going to make it more clear, but let's try it. Isaiah 14:2. The nations of the world will help the Lord's people return, and those who come to live in their land will serve them. Those who captured Israel will themselves be captured, and Israel will rule over its enemies. Okay? Let me read some more of this in the NLT. In that wonderful day, all right, when the Lord gives his people rest from sorrow and fear, from slavery and chains, You will taunt the king of Babylon. You will say, the mighty man has been destroyed. Yes, your insolence is ended. You ain't gonna like the words that we have to say, but we double dare your ass to try to fix your lips to say it. We all probably already gonna be able to read your minds, but we ain't gonna be able to or we can't wait for you to do something for us to put our foot, hey, like Elder Pastor Tahar said, put our fiery foot sideways up your ass, man. There's gonna be nothing you can do about it. Isaiah 14:5, for the Lord has crushed your wicked power and broken your evil rule. You struck the people with endless blows of rage and held the nations in your angry grip with unrelenting tyranny. Now look around you at this world, all right? Esau, Edom, all right? This being the capital, this is Babylon the Great, America, okay? BKA for us, Babylon the Great, AKA the future site of the lake of fire. But you can see what this place is doing as far as other lands are concerned right now, all right? You just go conquer a place and take it over, right? Okay? Just because you can, right? Isaiah 14:7, but finally the earth is at rest and quiet. Now it can sing again. All because you are going to be out of here. All right? And we are going to be back in order. Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Yahawah first, Yahawashi second on down. Okay? Yahawah, Yahawashi, King David. All right? Isaiah 14:8, even the trees of the forest, the cypress trees, and the cedars of Lebanon sing out to this joyous song. Since you have been cut down, no one will come now to cut us down. All right? In the place of the dead, all right, there is excitement over your arrival. The spirits, and that means a low place. All right, you are going to be brought low. The spirits of the world leaders and mighty kings, long dead, stand up to see you. With one voice, they all cry out, now you are as weak as we are. Your might and power were buried with you. The sound of the harp in your palace has ceased. Now maggots are your sheets and worms your blanket. You're going to be brought very low, the lowest. You're going to become who you were to be in the first place. Base men, the basest of men. All right, and we should have been in first place in the first place, but hey, we had to fall. All right, we had to fall. Again, be subjected to vanity and sin in order to be subject to hope and faith. And you even had to receive your promises before the Lord can wrap this up. All right. Isaiah 14:12. How you are fallen from heaven, or how you have fallen from your high place, O shining star, son of the morning. This is the verse that has Lucifer in it. Lucifer means light bringer. That's all that word means. Okay? You have been thrown down to the earth, you who destroyed the nations of the world. That is definitely speaking of Esau, Edom. In the scriptures, is also known as the hammer of the earth. And you know what? Let me see. Oops. Hold on a second here. All right, because you use your weapon really. You use your weapon as good as you can use it, as good as anybody can wield it. Jeremiah 15:23. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi. All right, reciprocal justice. Okay, that's how the hammer of the earth is going to get dealt with. Let's see. I don't know if I'm going to finish reading this in the NLT or let's read a little bit more of this. I'm going to just skip through this. I mean, we already made the point in this chapter. But let's see. Isaiah 14:16, speaking again to Esau. Everyone there will stare at you and ask, can this be the one who shook the earth and made the kingdoms of the world to tremble? Is this the one who destroyed the world and made it into a wasteland? Is this the king who demolished the world's greatest cities and had no mercy on his prisoners? The kings of the nations lie in stately glory, each in his tomb, but you will be thrown out of your grave like a worthless branch. Like a corpse trampled underfoot, you will be dumped into a mass grave with those killed in battle. You will descend to the pit. All right. Isaiah 14:21. Kill this man's children. Let them die because of their father's sins. They must not rise and conquer the earth, filling the world with their cities. This is what the Lord of Heaven's army says. I myself have risen against Babylon. I will destroy its children and its children's children, says the Lord. Remember that. Laid your heritage waste. Okay. Isaiah 14:23. I will make Babylon a desolate place of owls, filled with swamps and marshes. I will sweep the land with the broom of destruction. I, the Lord of heaven armies, have spoken. All right, again, judgments that are in your suitcase. Okay. Let me see where I was going to go here now. As a matter of fact, let me check this time. Give me a second. All right, yeah, that time going quick, man. So let me cut it right here. And when we return, we'll touch on Jeremiah 51. All right, for some more of those contents that are in your suitcase. All right. So I hope this came through as sincere and edifying. And with that, I say all praise to Yahawah in the name of his son, YAHAWASHI, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, but also known as the prophets of doom. These are where I have learned this truth and where I am still learning this truth. And also shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I am of that number. Lord willing, we'll see you in the next video. Shalom.